What's up, everyone? My name is Chelsea, and welcome to the Handcuff Status Podcast. On today's episode, we'll be discussing transformative justice, what it means, and the various forms of injustice from our criminal system. We have an exclusive interview with Marcelles Queen. He is the founder of Representation for the Bottom organization. He will be sharing his experience with us, so let's get right into it. How are you, Marcelles?
I'm good, awesome.
That's good. So can you just give us a quick background about yourself?
Where would you like me to start? I have a long, extensive.
Just that is
I'm
what you think is important for us to know. Like, we want to know about you.
33. I have 2 kids. I run a nonprofit organization. I work with at-risk youth. I advocate. I just try to really see the betterment of everybody to win for real, right? I kind of went through a lot of things in life, so all my obstacles and stuff like that, I went through. I try to make sure other people don't go through it like that.
In your words, like, what is transformative justice?
In my opinion, transformative justice is when you can spot a problem, right? You can transform the problem, and then you find other ways to make justice out of it. Because everything is not in black and white, right? Everything is not going to be, oh, if this happens, then this is supposed to happen, right? Sometimes you kind of have to look beyond the lines to see a creative way of dealing with certain things.
Thank you for that. I just wanted to know, like, before starting representation from the bottom, do you mind giving us like a little background of like how did you get started with that? What was your life before, and what led up to you starting this organization?
To be honest, I always felt like a lost person though.
Right,
I always call myself like one of the lost kids, right?
right.
Because like my mother been getting. I got like 10
Oh
brothers and
wow.
sisters, right? So my mother was a drug addict in Northeast DC. She kept having kids, and she wasn't like a functional drug addict. So we always got like placed everywhere,
Right.
right? So I was always like wherever I was placed at, that's where I was. So I always lived in like DC, or I would like if I would move to Maryland, I moved with a family member in Maryland, move back to DC, or I was always like just everywhere. And eventually, like, not being stable and stuff, I started making bad decisions. So I always like called myself a lost kid because it was like I always felt as though if I had like reasonable aspects to myself, I don't think I would have like went down certain roads and stuff like that.
So how did that make you start your organization, Representation for the Bottom?
I mean, to be honest, like I started getting tired though. Like I've been shot 8 times before. I've been to prison twice. I've been in juvenile detention centers, group homes my whole life, right? And it was just like I started getting like tired. Like I always just wanted to be regular like everybody else. So it's like, and I started doing like community work because I kind of like didn't know what else to do with myself. Like I was like, man, like, it gotta be something better than just keep doing the same stuff or whatever. So I realized like I have a different outlook when it comes to community work because I done did everything out here, right? So it's like the way I perceive situations and the way I delegate situations is like no other. Because I lived it, like I done seen stuff that people had never seen before. So it's like who else to lead, who else to lead the people, who else to really, you know, put it together.
You're right. So you feel like because of your experience, like you can connect with like the younger kids.
Not even due to my experience, I feel obligated. Like I feel obligated. Like I just went through it like a lot. So
Right.
like for me, it's just like why would I want to see other people like going through the same stuff I've been? If I have a chance to redirect some, if I have a chance, like I'm gonna stand on it. You know what I'm saying?
It's good because I feel like a lot of youth need that, especially knowing what you went through and seeing that
Yeah.
it's gonna help them to like make different decisions. I like the fact that you took what you went through and turned it into like a positive. I want to know like what challenges though do you face doing what you're doing and given your background.
I still struggle with my mentality, right?
Okay.
So I still struggle with being aggressive. I still struggle with certain things at certain times.
Right.
And when you do this type of work that you do, like sometimes I run across people, that I know that like, I can't handle the same type of way I handle it in other situations. Because I'm still healing, right?
Right.
So and since I'm still healing, sometimes it be kind of triggering me because I'll be like, I know you ain't just like, you understand?
Right.
Like, and I'll be like, oh, hold up, this is not that type of space. Like, like this is not for that. So every day is a journey still to this day. So I'm still recovering myself.
So do you try to surround yourself with people that like are like-minded due to the fact that you know you still struggling with like certain things? Like do you find that it helps to be around like-minded, or do you still kind of have same kind of friends from like before?
A lot, like, a lot of my friends, like, they, to be honest, like, and this is what I mean by, like, I feel like I'm obligated to guide, right? Like, I guide. I don't look at people like you as the situation. So some of my things, some of my events and stuff like that, I'd rather deal with street people. Like, like, I like dealing with more street people because it's like each one teach one,
Right.
right? I'm one of those people that, like, like, I'm a very documented person for being in the streets. A lot of people know me and stuff. So, and I've never been nothing else but who I am, right? So when people start seeing me move positively and stuff like that, and I can still call back to the trenches, but like, hey, look, I'm about to do a halfway house drive for the men. Like, man, can you want
Right.
help? Like, cause you was in that situation where you was eating noodles with me, nigga. I know that, you know what I'm saying.
For
Like,
sure.
we can't just, and you'll be surprised how many people, like, will be like, what, all right, you know what I'm saying, or how many dudes from the street might be like, Marcel is doing that, let me help him. You know what I'm saying? Because I realize a lot of people from the street need
Right.
opportunities. They just kind of stuck in the struggle too. But if you give an opportunity, right, they'll take it. You know what I'm saying? So.
So was there anybody who gave you an opportunity? Talking about giving people opportunities, like was there anybody that was there for you that kind of pushed you along the way to do what you're doing, or did you just
Oh yeah, I'm to keep it real. I'm like everybody's baby. It meaning like a lot. Like I'm everybody's
right?
baby in this
Oh,
community,
nice.
right? Because I'm still very intelligent, but at the same time, like, if you give me something, I'm going to make sure that I'm gonna do it all the way thoroughly, right? And I really been through stuff, so it's like I'm everybody's baby because they might give me an inch, and I'm gonna show you. Look, I took this inch out and colored it. I done cut it off the paper. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I'm gonna create it, and I'm gonna show you I'm thankful for the opportunity. So, everybody, I'm like everybody, baby, for real. And like everybody poured into me. It was not just like a lot of different organizations poured into me. A
Nice.
lot of different people.
So I'm pretty sure, like, now that you're saying it, you're everybody's baby. A lot of people are probably like super proud of where you came from your past, and all that you've gone through, and then now to be such a like a staple in your community. I'm pretty sure like you're making a lot of people proud.
Some of the I know what some of the messages I get,
Right.
right? So I get messages from people that, like, I know that they still stuck in certain positions. Dudes that never leave the street. You know what I'm saying? Like, they like, bro, like, I'm proud of you. Like, I get all types of, I'm talking about, like, people, like people who knew I was just like I was just off the chain. Like, they just like, listen, man, like, do you need help? Like, when you have other people reaching out trying to just come help, that doesn't that's not from that type of space, that's when like, people like, oh, if he can do it, I can
Right.
do it. You know what I'm saying?
So
So.
what about your siblings? Because I know you said that your mom had 10 kids. What about them? Like, are they into the same organization that you doing, or like have they gone separate ways?
So I never lived with any of my brothers and sisters.
Okay.
My brothers and sisters, they are, so we all, every time my mother had a child, like, she would, like, so half of us, like, social services took.
So you grew up in like foster care or stuff like that?
I mean, like, I like different people
Okay.
took me on. Like, I never had like a real, like, suitable house, I guess you could say, right? So I bounce around. Like, I might move my aunt southeast, or or I might go with my other aunt over here, or I might go with or I might go to a group
Okay.
home, and then somebody might come get me. Then I go to juvenile detention center. Then, like, I never had like no real. So half of my sisters and brothers, I don't know where they are. You know what I'm saying? And then the other half, they still fighting for life. You know what I'm saying? Like, they fight life right now too. Like, can you imagine? If you understand what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, when you don't have no mother for real, you don't have no father, you don't have no, like, it's like you fighting. Like, I feel like I've been fighting my whole life. You know what I'm saying?
That must make you super relatable to other people, like younger kids coming up and just people in the same situation. That must make doing what you do make it like relate to them, for them to be able to come and trust you with whatever it is that you're doing for them. I'm assuming that that would make it easier in a sense, knowing what you came through.
I mean, yeah, I look at like the kids I deal with like family. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't look at it like, oh, like y'all just, sometimes, we all go through our little stuff, but I look at it like, we family. That's just because the way I like what I've been through, right? So I don't look at them like, oh, like y'all. I look at them more like I want to see y'all win for real. You know what I'm saying? Like if I feel like if I had somebody like a me, or if I had some, I can't help everybody all the time, but it's gonna be time like I can come through when it's really needed. You know what I'm saying? Like I can be your protective angel. You know what I mean? Like if I see a fire, I can
Yeah,
put it out.
for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'd be like, okay, this is going on. But like this is a time where you really need somebody. Let me go ahead and really come. I'm gonna pull through. You know what I'm saying? So
So, what is like your long term goal for your organization?
it's really I want to set up a system, right, where every child that was kind of like me has an angel, right? That's a protector from the sky that can be like, okay, this is going on before it get to this point, right?
Right,
Because I feel like everybody needs that, but you'll be surprised who don't have those things, right? And and when you don't have those things, right, it puts you in certain situations, like my relationships. Like I always end up choosing women because I was always seeking somebody to like to love me for what I was overcompensating
right,
for, and then when I didn't get that love what I was looking for, right, I end up just being wild. You know what I'm trying to say? And like stuff like that, you have to be like like trained upon. You have to know that's stuff men teach other men. Most African American households don't have men for real. You know what I mean? So it's like you got like 14, 15-year-olds out here really just bumping their head, guiding themselves for real, and then they become like man
right,
kids. Like you want to be honest. You know what I'm
right.
saying? Like
No, I get it.
like for like my first apartment, like I ain't know how to put no I was like, damn, I gotta buy, like the little dish rack, like we put the dishes on it.
Right,
I was like, damn, where the fuck do I put my like dishes after I'm done? What? Like I wasn't like it's a lot of things like I ain't had no shower curtain for some time. Females would come over like, where your shower curtain at? You know what I'm saying? And it's like even before I started doing the nonprofit stuff, like my mentor called me and be like I'd be posting stuff on Instagram, me shopping for my apartment, and I get calls like, man, my girl keep kicking me out and stuff like that. I said, boy, you need to leave. You need to get your own apartment. We too old to be going through stuff
right,
like that. And it's like two of my men really listened to me and got their own apartment, right? And I realized they were going through the same stuff I was going through, like as far as like getting household stuff. They didn't know what to get, like, because it's like we was like man
right.
kids. You know what I'm saying? Like
Because you
so.
never had that like
Yeah.
man to show you how to do things and the way you should do things and stuff like that.
Way you how you deal with your
Right,
relationships, the way you set yourself up, the way like that's very imperative. Like when you like some of my friends that got fathers, they like they super on point. You know what I'm saying? They've been on point since they was 17. They look at some of the things I go through like you stupid as shit. Like, you know what I'm saying?
so it's good. So,
So
well, so in a part of your organization, like what exactly do you guys do? Like just for somebody who's watching who's not familiar with what it is exactly that you do. So I'm assuming you guys are like mentoring younger people. I also saw on Instagram that you guys are doing the clothing drive or bringing clothes to newly released guys who just came out of jail. Like, what else is it that you guys do?
I got like multiple things I do. I collaborate with DC Black Broadway. DC Black Broadway is a theater company in DC. We make Go Go, which is the theme of choice of music in Washington DC with theater. So what we did with that was I go to different neighborhoods and I really try to find kids that really need that guidance, right? And I'll be like, hey, come on. They get paid training.
Right.
I just added they actually become part of the play, and then also they last time I added camera classes, so I got one of the bigger rappers from this area. I got one of the biggest producers. They taught them how to do camera work. One of my kids, they now they run around here doing camera work and get
Oh,
paid for it, like on their own.
that's cool.
So they got to hustle. I feel like everybody need to find a hustle. Everybody need to get some money.
That's good. So it's like taking their talents and kind of like helping them do good
Hmm.
stuff with that. So you mentioned,
Then I have
sorry, continue. No,
huh?
continue. What were you gonna say?
I have a paintball league.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
I started off with Baltimore versus DC. I mean DC versus Baltimore. That was like a funny situation, but that's a long story. And then I did DC versus Philadelphia,
Mhm.
and then I did DC versus New York. I worked with Dr. Mitchell from Howard University. I pitched on. I said, look, I got all
That
these
is so cool.
cities. Man, I got all these kids, and we did like a global one last year. So last summer we did all the cities together, and then we did it at the council members chambers, and then we like we did mentorship. So I had different felons from all the different states coming, really telling what this jail, which jail really like.
Right.
Like what is really what's gonna happen to you for real. Like they don't really know. Nobody really understands until you get in it what the consequences is. So I'm gonna give you an example. Like one of my close friends, he was 21. They gave him 15 for a gun charge because he didn't want to tell on the murder. But they said because he had a prior gun and drug charge when he was 17, that he was they careered him out at 21. He came home at like 36. He didn't see his kids the whole for 15 years because he ain't tell on the murder. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's stuff like that on a simple gun possession.
And so you
Yeah.
mentioned like some of the organizations that you team up with. What about like your law enforcement? Like, what's the relationship with your organization and them?
I mean, I don't have no like I'm still like I I don't have no problem with police or nothing like
Right.
that, but I still like I kind of like I say what's up, hey, how you doing, but I don't you know ain't no ain't no lost love
Right.
between
Right.
them, but I've realized that it's us it's us and it's
Right.
them, right? They have if they tell you at that point in time like, look, man, I need you to do this. That's your job, and you got a family, so you might have to. You're not gonna hold your integrity for your family and your job, right? You know what I'm saying? And I understand that, and it's not no. That's so it's unless I really know you and I see your morals and principles and stuff like that. But that's with anybody. If I don't know your morals and principles and I don't really know something, I'm gonna stay shy away from you for real.
No, I understand that. And just wanted to know, like, I think you touched on this a little bit before, but with your organization, do you guys, or in your, you can just give me your own take on this, like with the mental health and the youth and just being incarcerated and all that stuff, like how does that play with what you're doing? Like, do you talk about it? Do you like how do you guys deal with that?
You say as far as mental health.
Yeah, like just with the mentals of all of that's going on with being incarcerated, living the type of lifestyle that, or growing up the way you did, I should say, because you grew up with your mom on drugs and not knowing your all your siblings and stuff. Like, how does that take a toll on your mental, and how do you guys deal with that in your organization?
So how did it total my mental and how do I
Yeah,
express it?
like with the younger kids coming up and stuff. Like, well, how do you express that? Because that's a big thing, especially in the Black community. We don't really talk about it much. Like, is that something that your organization touches on?
Okay, so I have a different way of how I move and how I articulate and how I deal with certain people, right? So I always like I don't like feeling like I'm preaching to anybody, right? Because I feel like once I get to saying keep on trying to, like then at that point I'm no longer effective,
Right.
right? So with me, I'm gonna say I sneak in messages
Right.
if that
Right.
makes
Right.
sense. Because at the end of the day, like nobody wanna keep hearing the same stuff over and over again. So like I'm gonna give you an example, like I always tell my youngins like or I tell just anybody that's juvenile. If you a juvenile and you think you thugging and all that, like in this system over here, once you go to juvenile detention center and you keep on messing up, you go to something called RTC. So I was in locked residential treatment centers. I was in for so I got locked up at like 14. I ain't come home till I was 18. So I never went to prom. I never did anything.
Right.
And but the time DC and Baltimore shared the same systems, right? But DC and Baltimore are whole two different places. So why are you in juvenile detention center? Like I always had to fight the Baltimore dudes. Like it's always been an all out war. And I was telling them, I was like, listen, you might get sent to a facility in the Baltimore area and they gonna jump you every day. Like right, like you don't know the. I said they can charge you as an adult. So I always like express the risks, right? I always express this is what this really looks like, right? I bring them to court dates. I let them see each other court dates because I feel as though like until you actually in that room and you see how they play, how the game is really
Right.
played, right? Then you start feeling vulnerable, right? Then you know that man, I messed up. Like they make until somebody's making decisions for you, and then you know that they playing the game, and you know that the ball is out of your court. I bring youth to court dates for you. You can actually realize
Right.
that, right?
They see
And
firsthand.
actually, because you don't want to wait till you in the pit and you looking up at the pit like how I get out of here, right? I think that does a big thing.
Okay, thank you for that. I actually like the fact that they get to see it firsthand. So it's like I don't want to be in that situation.
You see sentencing, you see they try to waive you as an adult and then give you 10 years in adult jail. You
Right.
16, like you be like, what? Why am I not coming home? Like I thought I was a juvenile. A lot of them are underneath that impression of that too. You let you do certain things. Certain things they don't care if you're a juvenile. You know, like it's a certain guidelines. Once you hit that top, like, burglary one, armed robbery, carjacking, attempted murder, murder one, second degree murder, all that little category of boxes and stuff. Oh, you going like they don't want hit. Like it's not, oh, you're juvenile or about it. Nah, like you getting sent. Sometimes they are impression that it's sweet, but it's not. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right, right. So yeah, like I said, that's good because then, like you said, they don't know. They go in thinking I'm young, so I can just it's gonna go right over my head. I'm not gonna get anything serious, and then reality kicks in.
And then they don't know, like then it's a certain level of a kid that you in there with
Mhm.
too though. Like most of, like this is something that's real though. Like most of the kids that I went through all that with, like they all dead now. You know what I mean? Like the kids that I known from 14 to 17, they dead. Or they like I was in this one program with this girl. I ran into her like 4 years ago. She was a full-fledged prostitute walking around outside. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, and I was like, man, you all right? Like how can I, like what you doing? Like, and she had a pimp. The pimp told her to walk back, and I was just like, what that? And I couldn't do nothing. Like she wasn't listening. I was trying
Right,
like, come get out here. Like I know you don't gotta go through this.
right.
But then I realized, like we all lost. That's why I say like I'm a lost kid though. That make like I'm a lost kid. They lost kids too though. But a lot of us, they gone. Like they didn't make it in life. You know what I'm saying? So
And just so looking back, if you had, like you said, you guys were growing up, lost kids. Like if you had to look back at anything in your journey, like what are you most grateful for? Like what do you think that would be?
I'm most grateful because it built me up who I am. Like I'm a very strong individual because I had to learn how to not let nothing like break me down. You know what I'm saying? Like I get like when I got shot 6 times, I lost a piece of my lung. Like I lost, like I had to, like I was in the hospital for months. I just kept getting. The first day I was released, I was like, I'm gone. I'm getting out of here. I never even processed. Like even in jail, like when I get released, I'm gone. Like what I'm saying? Like I don't have, like, I ain't gonna say I don't have emotions though,
Mhm.
but like life done hit me so much for so long. I'm just like, I gotta do what I gotta do. I'm gonna make it out. I'd have been a trial. Like I went to trial for my life. You know what I'm saying? Like they kept giving me cops, kept giving me. I'm like, nah, I'm not taking that. I was in a law library study.
Wow.
Write it down right there. Yeah, I went to two. My first trial date got I had a mistrial. My second trial date, I still was like, it was like, look, just take this. I said, nah, I'm not taking nothing. You stop playing with me. You better let me out of here. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm a very resilient. Like, you gotta show me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta have to show me. Like, you can't just tell me. You want to make me a believer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
That's good. So you feel like you reading and doing all those like research for yourself kind of made you stronger in the sense like they couldn't really take advantage of you at that point.
this another good topic about this because when I was locked up, it's a lot of African American men who are in cases that don't make
Mm.
sense. I'm talking about like just thrown together, made up cases because on the low they really target African American men, right? They assume that we have guns on us. They assume we selling drugs. They assume, and then they just be like, oh yeah, look at him over there. Let's just stop him. He's gonna have something on him. But in reality, that's they violated your Fourth Amendment, right? The unreasonable search and seizure. In reality, when you go through these when you go through the amendments and what they're supposed to use as the amendments to actually do certain things, you will see that they was never allowed to do it. So when I was, like a lot of men used to be like, Marcelles, look at my case. And I'd be like, what? I'd be like, man, you might have pleaded this. I would never. They be like, bro, you gotta get out the way. They gonna give you double because if you lose, try to give you all the
Hmm.
time, right? But most of the cases that I've run across is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like I'd be like, man, you gonna plead to that? So because I done beat like 2 trials for real.
So is that
So
something that you teach in your organization, like having like knowing your rights, knowing what to do if you get stopped or if the police try to come for you? Is that something that you think that young, especially black men, should know?
to be honest, I don't teach that because I feel like once they grab you, it doesn't matter. Right? I feel like they're gonna make up something that makes it probable cause.
Hmm.
They have so many little tricks to it. So once you grab, right? It's about then picking through with since it's something that is made up, they it's gonna be holes in the case because they just putting it
Okay.
together. You understand what I'm
Okay.
saying? Then you have to read through the holes
Right.
and then fight that. It's sad that you have to do that, but that's just what it is.
So, what are your hopes for the next generation? Like, what would you want them to do or to be?
My hope is that we fix our families, right? I always speak on the same things, right? Because even if there is a generation, right, the next generation, if black men are still against black women and black women are against black
Right.
men,
Right.
right? People always trying to like make it like it's like we beefing with each other, like I don't I'm not one of the main things that's going on is that you can't really raise a child without both people in the
That's
house.
true.
A man has certain capabilities and a woman has certain capabilities, right? And I realized when a 13-year-old reaches 13, he not trying to listen to a mother anymore, right? That's when a man iron fist comes to hand. Like you go sit the F down.
Right.
And why you not home yet? A man has a very silent voice in the house. You know, the mother controls the house all day. Women control the house all day long, right? But you know, if a man gets up and be like,
Oh yeah.
"What you talking to her like that? Oh, like what you say?" Like it's a
Right.
difference, right? Because it's the power behind it. You know, so and as long as that we keep on acting like co-parenting is good. We keep acting like our children is really suffering for real, right? Our children, I ain't gonna lie, like my son. My son is 13 now. I went through a situation where he keep fighting in school,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I have to keep on. And the problem is, it's so many boys, right? And let's be real here. Black men hunt black men, right? I always feel like I have to be super precautious walking out. I always feel as though like something could go wrong in the club, they'll get the shooting afterward, right? Because that's just what it is, right? So when my son goes into a middle school with other boys, he's trying to establish dom his who he is,
Right.
right? And he needs to come home every day and talk about that. He needs to come home and I can't be like getting him on the weekends. During the week, what he go do. And he had an age where he don't want to talk to me on the phone. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, he had an age where I had to go bust his door. If I live where I bust his door, what you here doing? Oh man, I'm on the phone. Like like that's that
Right.
age where
Right.
they want to be like they private. They fake act like they. I want to see the next I want to see the next generation of African Americans have successful families and businesses and black love, but like bring black love again. So all this hatred and I see so much craziness like just working in the community. Like I see why we failing. Like we not one,
So
and it's hurting our kids.
that's very true. I feel like that's very important, like having both parents in the household. Like I'm a single mom myself, and I could tell you, like it's hard. I have a boy and a girl, so I know what it's
Oh
like
my,
to have that. Your son doesn't really like. You can't be too tough with him because he's almost bigger than me. So
mhm.
I definitely see where you need to have like both parents in the house for sure. So before we like wrap up, if there anything that you want to share with us, like that you think that is important for us to know?
I just hope that everybody just keep on. I just want to see everybody win. Like this, whatever you gotta do out there to win. Like do what you gotta do for your kids. Do what you gotta do for your community, though, because we only gonna save ourselves. It's not enough government money to save all of us. Like it's not enough grant money. It's not enough any of that, right? It's like men gotta be men. You know what I'm saying? Like men gotta really step up for the kids that's out here that's lost. Like I see, everybody see them. You know what I'm saying? So it's not people gotta like step outside they box and step up. Be like, you know what? If everybody did that with kids that's lost like that, if everybody gave a piece of their day to something, right? I think that everybody would be sustainable.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's it.
And how can people reach you if they wanted to like get some more information or donate to the cause or just wanted to reach out? How would they do that?
So you can go to my Instagram. It's representation for the bottom, and I have a website. My website is also representationforthebottom.org, and that's it. My name's Marcelles Queen. Facebook, it's however.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you so much for sharing with us today. Joining us on this sorry, Handcuff Status Podcast. It was great talking to
Okay,
you. Thank you so much, Marcellus.
I appreciate
Thank
you.
you. We would like to thank Marcellus Queen for sharing his story with us today. We commend him for all the work that he's doing. And for all the incarcerated, remember, freedom is a must. Free all the lifers, and shout out Private Spaceship. Thank you all for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and follow Handcuff Status Inc. on all major platforms. If you have any questions and suggestions, send it in to us, and never forget our mission: breaking the chains of injustice.